Whether or not is not being recorded in front of a live guinea pig studio audience because I am in my hotel room in Las Vegas. No, I'm not gambling. Okay, I'm watching wrestling. The U.S. Open is out here. Now, yesterday I cut a video from the airplane I was in, and the sound quality wasn't real good, obviously, with a jet engine roaring and people talking. But I just want you to know, for those of you who think I should be committed, I am committed, okay? Just remember that. I've got an open mind, too. So there's my book. All right, we all know that. Now, the subject of whether or not today is whether or not computer models can even see cold air anymore in the long range. And what we are dealing with here, to quote the infamous Sheriff Buford T. Justice, is a complete lack of respect for the cold air. Okay, so I did switch the ending of that, right? It's not all, in the movie it says a complete lack of respect of the law. But the fact is, there's no respect for any of the cold air that's showing up. This is a huge bust coming up over the next couple weeks. Arctic air is invading the U.S. yet again. And it's going to invade the areas that got beat up the worst during the winter, the northern and central plains. Some chill is coming down into the southern part of the United States, the southern plains. But the fact is that since January, February, March, the models have been awful. This is the forecast for January, February, and March from the climate model, right? CFSV2. Not to be confused with YMCA. If you're a weather geek like me, you think it's fun to forecast with the CFVS2. No, it's not. It's hardly ever right. I was never good at doing the village people anyway. But look, here's what actually happened. Look at that. There's the forecast. There's what happened. Now, do you realize we had our total heating degree days this year was the third coldest in the last 5 years. Okay, third coldest or second coldest? Second coldest in the last 5 years. Okay, because we had 2 or 3 real warm winters in there. We had total heating degree days from November through March of 4,016. Our forecast was for 4,008. The problem with our forecast was I thought it'd be colder down here. But that being said, one thing we emphasized was there was going to be a lot of cold air trying to get into the pattern, and indeed it did. All right, but it did it without the model having any idea it was going to happen. This forecast is from January 31st, December 31st for the upcoming 3 months, and here's what happened. So what in the wide world of sports is going on here? Let me remind you folks that on no other video blog do you see references to Smokey and the Bandit, Blazing Saddles, and Rodney Dangerfield having to do with the weather. Okay, so this is yet another first, another adventure in broadcasting, another situation where we're just pioneering the limits of what can be done nowadays on these YouTube videos. Okay, so what is going on here? All right. Well, first of all, let's take a look at the global temperature for the month of April. There's patches of cold here and there. But because of this, and this especially, April is winding up very warm. Now, the computer model does not like when it's warm to the north and cold to the south. So it tries to wash it out and come up with some kind of an average. So for May, June, and July, it's not as warm up here, but what it does is it wipes out any attempt at having any cold air anywhere, right? Because it spreads it all out. You know, it's like the Three Stooges, go on, spread out, right? So it's not as warm in one place, but it's warm all over. And that's because the model, when we put all the information into the model is saying, what's going on here? It's warm to the north, cold to the south. We got to try to balance that out. And you can see the first 45 days of this period, see this 90-day period, the first 45 days actually have cold showing up in places, right? But what happens is, as you get further and further out into time, it kills the cold, all right? And this is a classic example. Look at the rest of the month of April. I mean, it's going to snow. It might snow in Chicago, snow in Detroit, snow in Buffalo, snow in the northern plains again. You see it nice and warm out here. So if you're supporting the global warming issues, oh, look how hot it is in California, right? And ignore what's going on. No, you don't ignore this. You just call that climate change. See, okay, cold air. Let's get the rules there. Cold air is climate change. Hot air is global warming. All right, and I'm pretty acquainted with hot air because, after all, I have a lot of hot air in me. But at least I'm open-minded about it. That's another thing. You should be committed and open-minded. What do you want me to do? Get a lobotomy? Besides, in the words of the immortal Tom Waits, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. But I'd rather, instead of all that, for you to enjoy the weather because it's the only weather you got.